call the meeting to order after all the nice horn sounds that we got. Thank you very much. It is 7:03 now. Just a point of order real quick before we get into the pledge. Mary Jane Hilton is absent tonight. She's excused. She's pretty ill from the December crud that's going around. And Nathan Lenny will be here shortly. So, Carly, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The mission statement. The Newmarket School District is committed to the highest standards of quality education. We ensure a safe and successful learning community. We embrace diversity and respond to the social, emotional, intellectual, and physical needs of every child. We strive to work with a broader community to ensure that students develop lifelong skills, enabling them to be contributing and productive members of society. On to the chair's report. I'm using technology, so please bear with me. I'm pleased to announce I've got an update from Ree Cooper and the Link Together service learning. She's asked us to please help get the word out to Ellen DeGeneres, who they've sent some pictures to. The children of Link Together program need her jeans for teens. So if anyone out there who is tech savvy more than I, can you please post to Ellen's Facebook or tweet her at the @ The Ellen Show or the @ Jeans for Teens. Thank you for your help, and it's hashtag get the word out. Hopefully we'll get some of those pictures onto the school website. She also sent me an update. Newmarket right now for Link Together is in 4th place with 593 jeans. The first place is Switzerland Point Middle School with 1,443. So, get your jeans and bring them to the schools for the drop sites, please. I think that'd be really helpful. And that's it for the chair's report. We have some minutes, approval of the minutes from the December 4th meeting.
I move to accept the minutes of December 4th, 2014 meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes of December 4th are non-public meeting.
I move to accept the minutes of December 4th, non-public meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Carly, your student report, please.
Boys basketball is 1-1. Girls basketball is 2-1. Hockey is 1-1. The Christmas concert at the junior senior high school was held on Tuesday, and I hear it went very well. Last night, parents of juniors were able to review the PSAT test that the juniors took earlier this year. This year's school play, Arsenic and Old Lace, has been cast. Hannah Schleter will play Abby Brewster. I will be playing Martha Brewster. Dylan Dufresne will be playing Teddy Brewster. Cameron Russell will be playing Officer Klein. Ashley Alvarado will be playing Officer Brophy. Katie Day will be playing Elaine Harper. Lucas Bogas will be playing Mortimer Brewster. Nikolai Vidala will be playing Jonathan Brewster. Kevin Paradise will be playing Dr. Einstein. Eli Longa will be playing Mr. Gibbs. Isabel Bickford will be playing Officer O'Hara. Kira Franklin will be playing Lieutenant Rooney. Alex Wader will be playing Mr. Witherspoon, and our understudies are Kayla Reeves, Sarah Levenstein, Michaela Shaw, Julia Leary, and Spencer Blake. This year, the organization Niche released a list of New Hampshire's top 50 public high schools, and Newmarket ranked 20. And lastly, school vacation starts next Wednesday.
Are you counting down?
Yes.
How many hours do you know?
I haven't started the hour countdown yet.
Fantastic. Sounds like it's going to be a nice play. Is Arsenic and Old Lace, is that appropriate for all family ages?
Is that a black comedy?
Yes.
Dark comedy, that's the word I was looking for.
So, like, remember the Goldilocks? Remember that from last
Alice
year?
in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Remember we
Yeah.
were very nice and pointed out that it's not a kid-friendly show.
No.
So, Okay, so on to the calendar. We have for December, 6:30 p.m. on December 22nd is the Budget Committee meeting. Looking into January, we had a beautiful presentation from the Kindergarten Task Force. Add to your calendars, everybody, please. On January 7th, there's a kindergarten public forum at 7 o'clock, I believe in the auditorium downstairs. Come one, come all, you'll get to see the new carpet and paint job. I hear it's coming out amazingly. And I think that's it so far. Anything we're missing from? Anything else? Okay. All right, superintendent's report. You have the CIP?
Yes, I do. You'll find in the packet on a couple of different sheets the requisite forms which the CIP for, which stands for
Capital Improvement Plan.
Capital Improvement Plan. Thank you. For Newmarket, the school district has to participate in this improvement plan to remain eligible for impact fees and part of that process. For the purpose of this event, we summarized our capital improvement plan under three categories: the junior, senior high school, the elementary school, and town hall. We did town hall because the school district is a share owner at the rate of 25% for the town hall, and we use about we use all except for two offices on the second floor. In general, the projects that we are considering for the high school, main focus is security, fire, life safety, ADA, mechanical, lighting, roofs, space and site enlargement upgrades. We're doing this to make sure the building is safe and in good to excellent operating condition. This is a replacement. The quotes will not be firmed up by professionals until after the independent consultant group or the Joint Advisory Committee submits their report. For the elementary school, to remind everyone, we're evaluating a 27-year-old building, which was a new construction. The main focus in that building is systems, and addition to security, mechanical, lighting, roof, space, and site. Again, we want to maintain this building and keep it in safe and good to excellent operating condition. And again, we haven't generated professional quotes on the repairs by architects. On the last page that I have for the board, we have listed the various skill sets, and you'll note that we've listed carpentry, thermal, roofing, finishes, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, site and land, fire and life safety, and ADA. And we got some percentages of what upgrades for that would be from other projects, and we utilized assessed valuations in this effort. The town has assessed the high school, junior, senior high school at $11,300,000 and some thousand. The elementary school at nearly $7 million, and town hall is estimated to be valued at $2.4. So we've included some skill sets, and I think what we're doing is the first level of this CIP, estimating for an improvement program. This is sort of independent of the work that we're doing with the JAC, and primarily this is long-term. We've got, I think it's important the community understand that we've got quite a facility here in town. It's large, respectively. It's nearly 84,000 square feet. And my understanding is that the community has not had a capital improvement program since the late 80s when they built the elementary school and the new gymnasium. So if these numbers are scary to you, I apologize. They're nothing, I think they have some basis for accuracy, but again, the exercise that we're asked to do is, do we have some capital improvements to be talking about? And I think we're doing that. We are talking about the capital programs at the school, and this is one of the functions that we could use some of those funds for. I think Christine used some capital, Christine didn't use capital. The board gave us permission to use some impact fee funds for the modulars at the elementary school last summer. So that supported some of that work.
And that was what we presented to town council?
Correct, to pay for the first payment.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have it budgeted.
Yep.
When we found out in April that the building was going to be condemned.
Yep.
So I think it's important that we be able to access these funds going forward, and that's the purpose of this exercise, to keep us eligible. So I will be invited to their meeting, and I wanted the board to see this. I'll be invited to their meeting sometime in January. I'll be forwarding it to them.
Should Carpenter's property be on this as well?
I tried to include it under the high school as site.
Okay.
Do you want us at that meeting as well?
Oh, I've been coming out a lot. No.
Okay.
No, I think it's fine. I think I can handle it
All right.
at this point.
So moving forward with the CIP, I know that it's new for everybody, because it's new to have it updated and to include the school in the process too. So what does that mean for, do people have to vote? Does this go to a warrant? Is there approval from the voters about it?
I think it's
How
all
does it work?
approved. This
Okay.
is just continuing to be able to access the funds going forward. We can report next month on the, it didn't make it in time for this report, but I don't know if Christine put the numbers to memory, but we've got a new report on the funds that are currently available. I think it was under 50,000, but I'm not.
Currently available?
Yeah.
There's about $28,000 available.
Yep. So, we would have to go through the process. We'd have to talk to city council, but,
Town council.
town
Another
council.
city. They'd like to.
What we've done so far is a small step to access $28,000.
And ultimately, will the CIP document be available online for people to look at? So they-
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'd like the committee to look at it and study it, and this is everybody's first year through the program, so it's a brand-new exercise, and I would assume this would get better over time.
Great. Are there any questions? Okay. All right, on to public comments.
Hi, Tony Weinstein, 275 Ashland Road. I have a question about school board procedure. And I want to start by saying thank you to Mike Martin for posting the agendas and the packets prior to the meetings. I find it really helpful to have that information. I like to follow along and I like to know what's going on, so it's nice to have that information ahead of time. But I was looking through the packet today and I had some questions about some of the information that was available, or not available, I guess. And it was in regards to phase 3 of the fire and life safety project. What I saw in the packet was a proposal or bid from Ingrid Nichols, is that her name? The architect. And so I saw that it was there, but it was only the one proposal that was part of the packet. And I don't know if if the packet that you have is different than the packet that's posted. I know that I hate to compare the town council
Okay.
to the school board, but when Steve posts the town council packet, it's the exact same information that the town council receives unless there's some non-public stuff for some reason. So I don't know if there's a discrepancy there, but I know that when we evaluate RFPs or we evaluate and we authorize Steve to enter into an agreement with anyone, it's typically based on multiple bids and, all that jazz, and we look at it and we, make sure that it's all up to par. So I don't know, maybe you have that information, but I would love it if the community could also see that. I don't know why it would be private. So I guess I have a couple questions. And so one basically is, did an RFP go out? Because according to the packet, it's not clear. And in the, for transparency purposes, I would love to have that information. And then if in the future, if that information could be available to the public, I think it would be helpful. Thank you.
You want me to answer that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm
Get it
sorry.
out there.
We usually don't discuss during public comments, but Mike's prepared to answer.
There was a standing proposal from the current architect to do the work at 10% of the cost of the project, and we solicited a second proposal after talking with the attorney. We got into a discussion about bidding professional services and whether that's a good idea, or are you looking for the quality of the individual? Sometimes you don't bid legal services, or you don't, you want the right person working on the project. So we contacted a second firm to do the work this summer, and their proposal came in at about 5%. 4.5% for the architectural fees and services. So we thought the savings being presented was worthy of the board's consideration.
So we have two, is what
Yes,
you're
we
saying?
do. Yes, we do. We had the existing one, and we went out and got a second one. Through some, what I would call through some pre-qualification process, and that's why the qualifications are in the packet. They've done 3 or 4 major renovations.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question, a follow-up about that?
You can, I'm not,
Yeah. Is the board policy, well, I guess what is the board policy as far as RFPs then? Maybe I'm unclear, because is there a monetary limit where you would go out to bid? Because I mean, it's $21,000. It's not small potatoes.
it could have been 112,000.
Sure, but I'm just, it's for the architectural fees, or according to what was the information that I saw in the packet. So I'm curious, and when the
There is a
board, I guess,
policy.
authorizes.
There is a policy.
DJ.
It's DJ. It does give the board flexibility.
Okay.
But there is a policy, and it is, the practice is to bid everything, and I think we I really don't want to get off of my theory about bidding, but I like to pre-qualify bidders instead of disqualifying bidders, and that's a story that I'd be happy to share with you at some point. But I think pre-qualifying the people that do your work is an appropriate way to get the best work at market value, as opposed to disqualifying people after they bid, and then it's always a challenge to try to get the right price.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, anyone else for public comments?
First of all, I want to begin by thanking the school board and the district staff and superintendent, everybody, for all your hard work.
You have to state your name. I'm sorry to
Oh,
interrupt you.
I'm sorry, I always forget that. Thank you. David Spiegel, Maple Street.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for the hard work you do, whether I agree with you all the time or not, or whether other people in the community agree with you or not. You give a lot of your time to this endeavor, And I think you should be recognized and applauded for it. I mean, even the town council, it's my understanding, gets paid a small amount of money for the time, for the work that they do, and the school board, to my knowledge, gets nothing, other than grief.
I know, we get grief, joy, and there is a small stipend that
Oh,
we
okay, I
can
didn't
choose to
realize that.
take or waive.
Right.
Yep.
So either way, the amount is certainly not compensation for the effort and the time put in. So I thought that there might be some small way to show my appreciation as a member of the community. So I bought you a box of candy, which, as I'm asking my questions or making my comments during public comment, you might want to pass around, since maybe the camera's going to be focused on me and you might be able to take a bite. And I figured that, Gail, you and Nate should have two, or at least one more than everybody else, since you both serve on the joint advisory committee.
We all do
So-
the,
Take it first in case we don't like, he doesn't like our answer.
we all do equal amount of work. We're all, lots of committees.
Just a little attempt at levity, just, for all those extra hours with the advisory committee.
Oh, hand that over, what are you doing?
Contrary to everything else I'm trying to do in this world.
And I didn't, I figured that fell within the acceptable gift
Oh,
limit.
right.
Since-
What's
since
the
you-
monetary
Since
value?
if you were each taking a piece or two of candy, it couldn't possibly amount to anything consequential.
I love it.
Wait, now the ask.
Oh, he's sweetening us up, yes.
The other night, I went on a viewing binge because I hadn't taken the time to watch all of the Joint Advisory Committee meetings. And the last time that I went on that kind of binge was watching all the episodes of Breaking Bad. And I can tell you this was not as pleasant in advance. But having taken the time to watch all the episodes, or the episode, that's probably the right word for it, watch all the meetings, I had some questions and some thoughts, and none of them require, on my part, are judgments, because I'm trying to refrain from making any judgments of what the committee reports until the report is issued. But I do have some questions, and I was hoping that maybe they get passed along, Gail, by you and Nate, and maybe if you want to, I know it's not your common practice to respond, but if that's what your choice may be, I'd appreciate a response. The first was, there was no mention of Oyster River, to my knowledge, or at least it seemed to go over my head that I didn't hear it. And I only recall, Nate, you at one point, before the Joint Advisory Council was established, making some reference to the prior conversations with Oyster River, and you had a fairly strong opinion about their predisposition to begin with, if that's a polite way to say it. And what anyone's opinion is about that, I was a little bit disconcerted that at least there didn't seem to be much communication about reopening that as a possibility. And if my impression is incorrect, I'd like that to be corrected, because I think that as far as the tuition issue is considered, I would hope that not only that Oyster River would be at least a consideration, but that some combination of tuitioning arrangements might be considered as well, because if that alternative is considered to be the best alternative, I don't necessarily, without knowing all the considerations, including the busing issues, et cetera, I don't know whether or not multiple alternatives within the tuition alternative should be considered and possibly be made available. So that's one, because some of the schools, including Exeter, if I remember, had a certain student limit so they might not be able to take all of the students because of that, especially going forward if the enrollment were to increase. So anyway, that's one issue that I would hope maybe you would either pass on or address this evening, whatever. The second issue is, and I wish Mary Jane were here because this was something that she responded to the most. Mary Jane seemed to be reluctant for the board to meet with Epping. Now, I know from your agenda that there was a visit to Epping.
It's a Oh, I'm sorry if it wasn't clear. No, it's just for us to discuss a possible tour.
Okay.
Because Craig Dion had come in and suggested that maybe that could be a possibility for us to see that facility if we're talking about tuitioning
Right.
to that school.
So I would hope that there would be a distinction made between negotiations and conversations. And, Mary Jane felt pretty strongly about that it was premature, but I don't think conversations are ever premature. When you sit down and just feel people out as to what their thoughts are and what they might be open to, that information only makes it possible to consider all the alternatives. So I hope that the board's position or the Joint Advisories Commission, is not affected by that, because maybe the school board had to take that message back that conversations couldn't be open. And I know that Superintendent Martin has made efforts to communicate with the other school districts, and I know Randy Bell has had some conversations as well. So I hope that those continue and that they're not restricted.
So usually we don't go back and forth, but Mary Jane isn't here, so
Right.
we did get an email from her that addressed something similar to that.
Right.
Do you want to wait and talk about that on the agenda, or we can go right to it right now, because I'll respond.
Yeah, I just think that section, just so it's clear about where she was coming from.
Right.
Because it's a good opportunity to clarify.
Whenever you think your time is right for that.
Well, I think right now would be good.
Sure.
I will tell you that I do not want this board to do anything without the JAC's recommendation. I don't want to waste Epping's time. I don't want to show that there's an intent from this board that we are going to Epping. I want the JAC to come back, answer our questions, and then, as a board, we can discuss going forward, and if that is something that we want to discuss. So I was part of those negotiations with Oyster River, and you can go back and watch all the meetings, because we all gave updates. Oyster River wouldn't be an option because they didn't want us.
Well, they
And you can
didn't,
go back and look at those, and,
they didn't have space for the students. Once the enrollment came out, it was
And I'm not
over
looking at the
capacity.
past. However strongly you may feel about that, or Nate's prior expressed opinion.
well, do you
was-
think it's changed in 6 months?
Well, I just to, maybe we can cut this off. Oyster
Okay.
River, Mr. Bell went out and took a survey of who would be interested to come to the dance. Oyster River wasn't interested. So that's why nothing's
That wasn't
been-
clearly communicated.
Yeah, that's why there's nothing,
That's what I'm
just those
saying.
two.
In the JAC meetings, that didn't seem to be
Yeah.
communicated. At least I didn't hear it if it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So in terms of clarifying what Mary Jane had said, can I just read it?
You can read it.
Okay.
I have it too.
She just basically clarified that she doesn't think we should make any type of move toward any option until the JAC's report is complete. And when we started this process, that is what we agreed on. So as to not do this, and I'm sorry, that we agreed on, so to do this would go against everything we've previously agreed to do. If for some reason someone wants to vote on this, even though it's not on the agenda, I would ask that it be tabled until I can be there for the discussion.
Right.
So she's not against us going and touring the school. I think there's a clear line of distinction that's been stated, and I'm not sure if it's a consensus of the board, and that's okay. We are going to talk about it later on, but that hopefully answers that. It's just, we don't want to look as if we're going to go down that road and that's the only road we're going. We have to remain balanced and objective and unbiased, and, we have to wait. We're in a little holding pattern right now as a community for that final document to come out.
and I am only trying to communicate that I think that it would be a mistake to not open lines of communication, that it doesn't indicate any intention. It's just to open lines of communication. Touring the facility is one aspect of that opening lines of communication.
And I think the JAC should do that.
Right,
I
and
absolutely
I,
wish that.
and I don't believe that that shows any intention. I think it just shows that the board is considering many options, and I just felt that distinction should be made, because I thought that was somewhat preventing the JAC from having all the information of what might be possible. And the impression I got was that there was a kind of initial conversation with Exeter just to get an idea of what kind of availability there may be even, and that there would be no difference with Epping or any other school district. And that's simply my point. I understand where you're coming from, and I just hope that distinction is clear, because it sounded like you just wouldn't even have any conversations with them at all.
No, it's just, we've got to remain very
Okay, I'm going to
Careful.
move on, okay?
Thank you,
all
because
right.
we usually have 3 or 4 minutes at the microphone, so
Well, if you want me to stop, I'll wait until the next public comments.
is that all right?
If that's what you want, or I can ask.
Because
one
I
of-
think some of your concerns we'll address when we come up to the Epping tour conversation.
All right, my other questions are related to the school building, so I can wait until the next
Okay,
public comment session.
thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Anybody else for public comments? All right, seeing none, let's move on, please. Old business, superintendent search. So we had some feedback from Al Zink when he came to our last meeting, which I thought was incredibly helpful. Although I can't find it now, I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. So, should we have a conversation about how we're feeling about that?
The way I ended my thought process on that is that I think we should open it up, see what responses we get, and then we can discuss it again. But we need to know how many responses we're going to get between now and, I mean, we can put a time limit on it or see what we get.
So if we open it up, you mean run an ad?
Run an ad.
There was discussion, I think, in here about doing some sort of a committee. Would that be something that we would want to form?
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing is get the community involved from the
Yes.
residents, just and the students and the administration, the staff, even just the general population, as well as the town council, or whoever else is on the board or whoever else would be interested in it, just to get the ball started to see what the qualities would be of a superintendent as they came in. Just get that out there and just get that community involvement. And then that'll help us make a decision at the other end, or to see what we're going to look for.
Right.
You know.
Because seeing as it is, we usually, and this was from Ted Comstock from the New Hampshire School Board Association, usually in a school district that's not as unique as us, or has the unique needs that we have, usually you start a full search in September. So, we did state publicly, I believe Mary Jane was talking about it, we don't know where we are yet, and we have that waiting game until January, so that will help to drive what our needs are for the district. So, just to reiterate, so we'll form an ad. Is the board comfortable with me reaching out to Ted Comstock?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
You trying to form a thought?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's in limbo.
Well, I missed you, listen, it's been a rough month, and so I'm sorry I haven't been with you. But you had some conversation last time about a search, and it's the sense, I guess what I'm hearing is there's some sense that it's time to go search, and we should put a process together.
Just to start it.
Yeah,
as
I
much
just
as our
like to
personal
see.
feelings, I'd like to see him stay forever, but obviously that's not, may not be in the cards, but we have to get ahead.
I guess, so I hear the question I would ask is, if we're gonna do a search, I want us to do it right. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say. And so, although he's got plenty of things on his plate now, we need to talk about fielding a public group.
Yep.
Epping just got done having NASDAQ up here doing,
Right.
not NASDAQ, yes, NASDAQ. Up here, Dr. De Benedictis has been up doing community forums, what do we want, what do we need, trying to sample that. We struggled last year, we came up with some stuff,
Right.
we struggled to quickly come up with what's on our top, our hit list in terms of criteria or characteristics. I'd want us to put together a plan and know that we're gonna do it well. It's hard for me because there's enough on the plate right now that we're trying to do. I missed the task force. Is that a complete process? that we heard from tonight, or are they continuing? I'm just wondering how
Oh,
many.
kindergarten?
Kindergarten?
We're going to keep continuing. And then once, I mean, we have to have
In a
the last
nutshell, they're
present-
still meeting, they're
Yeah,
still talking.
we have one last presentation.
I mean, it's another committee, I guess is what I'm saying. You need to put together a group, and they need to try to ferret out what it is they're looking for. I don't think you can drop the ad in the next
Well, you
30
two know
days,
this
right?
better than us, so you two have done this before, and we know from the last time. My feeling is, let's open it up and see what happens, you know? And if not, we start the committee, and then we know, and then we can do those questions. What are we looking for in a full-time superintendent? Where do we see our district going? And by then, maybe we'll know a little bit more. But we can kind of get the ball rolling and seeing what happens. I mean, there's 22 districts looking for a superintendent.
Yeah, it's a busy year, for sure, in that regard. But, so, I mean, no, I guess, so for me, I would say that the process, obviously, if we want to reach out to school boards, did we, in the last round, did we get a quote or a proposal from NESDEC about providing the service?
We
No,
just had Ted Comstock.
yeah, I thought the process with New Hampshire School Board Association was great. It was seamless, it was, you know,
Don't I remember reading an article somewhere where they were managing that whole process somehow, or just setting the guidelines so that the committee could work within a range, or,
yeah.
I
And
remember reading that
he
somewhere.
may be
that
able
was
to
it.
come and speak to that and help us form those difficult
Yeah.
questions, help us form, you know, a well-rounded search committee, and we could have, you know, feedback during public comments from, you know, just to get that started,
Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
it'd
like
be
a plan.
really important.
Are we members of NESDEC? We just did the
Yes.
enrollment, right? So we
Yes.
paid the membership. I think before you commit to School Boards Association, I'd just ask them both
Them to
to.
come.
Ted gave us a proposal here 6 or 8 months ago, whenever it was, and we met with him. We could ask NESDEC to send us a proposal, just tell us what they would offer to do, what they think might be appropriate in our scenario, and what the cost would look like. And then, you know, we could have a brief conversation about that. I don't think we can get an ad together and put it out this month or in January. I think you gotta have a process to make sure you know what you're looking for, because that makes a real difference, because with 22 of them open, there are some folks out there that'll probably apply to every single one of them, but most will say, I'm interested in that, I know your needs are this, and I'm not really hip to that, I like to do this, and different, you know, I mean, you'll be different, a different candidate pool for different districts. So, and once you get the ball rolling down that slope, then he's gonna have to throw his hat into other rings as well, right? So I think we should do it right the first time if we're gonna go ahead and do it. I know it's been tough. In my mind, I've kind of been balancing wow, there's a lot on our plate in the next 6 months. Is this something that the public should be talking about this summer, when people have some time and some energy through the fall, so that we would know what we're looking for and be launching next fall? And I know that's got its downsides for some folks as well. I mean, it's time to have formal and full-time leadership and be moving forward with a plan. We don't have a plan yet is all, so I just want to make sure if we do it right.
And I see all of this.
Yeah.
For me, I'm hesitant making any decisions without Mary Jane here. So I'm glad the community is hearing it. We're looking at different options for a process rolling forward. Do you think maybe in January we can come back to have the conversation again, and, you know, then we can think about how we get the public input about what we're looking for, so when we put the ad out, we know what we're looking for?
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess
That's
I would
Mary
ask,
Jane's on it.
I would ask for maybe 3 things, 4 things, 5 things. They're coming to my mind and it's in here. No,
Somebody
not
take
that many.
notes.
Number 1 would be, let's ask NESDEC
All right.
for a proposal, and let's ask school boards for a proposal. Those are the only 2 groups that I can think of off the top that really.
So can we reach a consensus, maybe, who would normally reach out to NESDEC? Would that be you, Christine?
No,
Mike.
it would be the chair, but the office will prepare the documents for you
Okay.
to sign,
And would they come and speak in a public forum?
if you would like.
I think that would be great.
And, you know, and I guess what I'm thinking is for a January meeting, if we had the basic proposals from those 2 groups, so we could judge what services they would recommend that they provide and what costs would be there. The third thing I might ask
And
beyond
have them
that.
come speak to us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we'd like maybe, boy, I hate to put them on the same agenda and ask them to both come and tout their wares and their skills, but, I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, I mean, I guess. The third thing that I was going to say is, I might ask Mike to draft up whether we have their guidance or not. There's a limited amount of time, there's a process you reasonably have to follow. you can't put out an ad and have a response date a week out. It's got to be 3 weeks or a month. I'd ask him to just draft a specimen. Here's what it might look like. You know, you say we're going to have a committee, you got to wait 3 weeks for responses, you got to establish the committee's got to meet, you got to have this, you got to, just lay out a timeline for us so we can be looking at what that would be.
Well,
And of
there's
course, it would be starting now January 6, 7, 8, whatever that date is in January, so.
Yeah, and there's a financial impact too. I mean, what does that look like if we want a full-time superintendent?
That should be in the budget.
Yeah, I think we
We've
had
got
that in the
but
budget.
we
Yeah.
can- But
Yeah, because we had this,
I would just ask that so we can make sure that we, as we get ready to make a decision, and we gotta make it fast. I mean, I think what I'm hearing is the people are feeling like there's enough sentiment that they wanna move forward in search, and if that's the case,
well, at least have the criteria together early enough so that we can make a decision that's not putting our backs up against the wall either.
some of those searches are in motion right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Those are, they started, like you said, in the September
September.
timeframe.
September, if
So,
not,
and some of them are gonna, it'll be very interesting if Mike can report back to us, or maybe, you know, if we work with Ted can report back. Some of the answers are gonna be, they closed and they're gonna, they didn't find anybody, they're gonna reopen. They're gonna try again.
And so then we'd be
There aren't 20
competing with them.
There aren't 22 out there.
Well,
So
well-
it's gonna be an interesting
Yeah.
year.
So is that okay that we do a follow-up conversation in January?
Yeah, and I think that if, it would be important for the public to respond to that as well. They can be
Yeah.
here, and that way, if you want to be part of that committee, show up and learn about it.
It's great.
yeah, at least get the ball started, and then
Great.
whatever Mike decides.
We can do an outline of a process,
Yeah,
you know.
How long have you been here? Only since July?
yeah. So when are you gonna make up your mind? What are you doing? You gonna go back into retirement? What are you doing?
What am I planning to do? I'm planning to work somewhere.
So,
He's young yet.
That's what I keep telling myself, and it just doesn't,
So
it
I-
hasn't settled
I
in
am-
yet.
I mean, it's an interesting position for somebody at my point in time, and, you know, the interesting challenge here in Newmarket is the fact that you're talking about putting up a school or not, or tuitioning students. It's a great point in time to try to help people struggle through that challenge. And I've enjoyed building buildings and have had success with that, but tuitioning has brought a whole new dimension to it. So we'll see what you want to do. I think regardless of what you do with me or what we decide to do or not to do, starting the conversation, as Al suggested, about the process of hiring a superintendent, I don't think it's untimely to start in January, whether you move to June or you move to some other time, or if you hire another interim or whatever you do. I think the point that's been made to me has been the fact that you've had a number of superintendents over 10 years, maybe 6 or 7. And I think you'd like to move into a situation where you had somebody 4 to 7 years, or, 5 to 9 years at least, because it takes a long time to really change an organization and embed the change in the practice in the classroom, which you're talking about, Matt, as well. So
and we don't know
I
what
don't
we're
think,
going to be.
right, and I don't think it's, I think you should get started, however you decide you want to go, and however the community decides the community wants to go. If this year is anything like last year, it's very active in June for people like me. Very active in June. Because somebody leaves at the tail end or something, there is some dominoes with superintendents. People are going to bigger districts, or people are going to, it's just, I'm sure you'll find a good person when you get there.
Okay. Anything else?
Good.
Okay. Transportation contract. Christine.
So I just have an update just to kind of tell you where I'm at the moment. You all know where we stand with First Student. We had a 1-year contract with a 1-year extension. I have asked for them to give us a 3-year contract with a 2-year extension. We have solicited other vendors, and I've met with one, and they have the bid in hand, and we'll be meeting hopefully in the near future, and they're going to give us a proposal on the same 3-year contract with a 2-year extension. So I'm hoping as soon as I get the information, then I'll share that information with you. My goal is by the end of January, so
So hopefully something below 17.76%?
that is the goal.
Or was it $314,000 or was it $266,000?
314. The 266 is another number.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right. Next up is the chairlift.
So the chairlift, I have been working with Chris Andruski, the principal, and Bob French, the director of maintenance, and Mike Martin. And we've been looking at what are our options, because we currently have no chairlift at the junior senior high school that is operable. We've been told that it really cannot be fixed. They don't make the parts anymore. The gentleman did say verbally that he thought if there was to do any type of repair, it was that they were going to have to specially manufacture the part, which could take months to accomplish, and that would exceed upwards anywhere to $40,000 plus, and it would still have to be approved by the state, of course. So we said, well, we're not quite sure if that would settle well with us. So we said, what other options do we have? And as we mentioned last time, the other option is to do 2 chair lifts. So we'd have one chair that would go up, you would hit the platform, and then you'd have to get on another chair to go up the second set of stairs. That is a rental